Good morning, Lanard fans. This is Walter McLeod, aka Lanardalicious, and today we are doing a retro flashback back several assortments. So this is not anything new, this is some older stuff. This is going to tackle the Total Soldier version 2 action posed 4 figures that were silhouetted early on as being top secret. But I know people have covered this, and I'm glad that they've covered, their opinions and everything on it. But there are not just 4. There are more than 4. And I'm going to explain that in the video, but we are going to look at Buckshot, Dozer, Recoil, and Reaper. These 4 figures had very limited articulation compared to any other Lanard core or Total Soldier figure of the time, and there is a big reason for this. In case you're not familiar with these characters, we are going to go through some pictures here one at a time for Buckshot. And as you can see here, here's Buckshot's micro dossier, and you can look at the full dossiers of these figures on www.TheCorpsMultiverse.com. I will put that in the item description down below. After Buckshot, we have Dozer, who is our bazooka-obsessed core bazooka man. After that, we have your Total Soldier version 2 version of Recoil. And as you can see, he's a parkour nut. He's very acrobatic. And it plays into the storyline if you read his dossier. And finally, of those 4, you have Reaper, which Reaper personally for me is one of my favorites. I love the sculpt. His first appearance here for Total Soldier version 2, he has this orange vest, because he's on the C Squad. So it makes sense, for him to have that orange, life vest type thing. But later, both Recoil and Reaper have become members of the Curse, which that's in the whole mythology, but we're going to concentrate today on Total Soldier version 2. Now, there are a couple of things that went along with the Curse that came later. There were some silhouettes for both Havoc and Wildside. We're also going to touch on that a little bit, because everyone has always come back to where's Havoc, where's Wildside, and what does that have to do with these action posed action figures. And I'm glad that I'm tackling this because everyone keeps asking this. Well, it's really quite interesting if you go back and you look at all the different characters that have been part of that line. And I'm telling you that you can argue on what's cool and why they don't have any articulation, but like Dozer's original, placeholder name was Heavy Duty Hal back when they did the line art for these figures, and Recoil's was Dual Wielding Wayne. So you have 2 other characters, that you have never seen that became, copyrighted for Dozer and for Recoil. But their original names were Heavy Duty Hal and Dual Wielding Wayne. Well, you also have some placeholders for Havoc and Wildside, and we've never saw those figures. But there is a different version, that is included in this big Total Soldier set, which I'm going to show you a small video snippet of these, in this large exclusive set that I was able to pick up at the Lanard annual warehouse sale. Well, a proxy picked it up for me last year. I want to give a shout out to Andrew Rushman, who was my proxy last year. Terrific guy, really stand-up individual. Him and Charles Cannon are 2 people that have shopped for me in past sales when I couldn't attend. And if I mistakenly said it was Andrew and it was you, Charles, I do apologize. But this set, it's really important to look at that there are different versions of these action posed figures. And I've argued with people on the boards, I've argued with people on forums, and it always comes down to, why this was done, and I am going to just break it down very quickly. The static posed, action posed figures were done because they had to cut the production cost right then, halfway in through this development. The original 4 were going to be fully articulated, just like your other core figures, but Lanard's always, being more innovative and always pushing the envelope, and they wanted to give fans better articulated figures for the following year. So they had to cut costs somewhere in the line, and they didn't want to do it to the vehicles. They didn't want the vehicles to be, less than what they were. So they cut 4 figures in an assortment, did them action posed, kept the price point low, and poured more money into the oncoming figures for the following year, which I'm going to put up those pictures of those figures so you can see. And the sculpting on the new figures that came out were your curse figures for, Impact, for Titan, for Smoke, for Shrapnel, for Trick Shot. I mean, the new figures, that's where all the production costs went into. And you also had Puma, and you had Snakebite, which were the first 2 female core and curse members. The money also went towards giving better articulation for that. So these guys, these 4 sculpts, they paid the price in articulation, but because of that small sacrifice, we got better articulated figures later on in the line. And now, pressing forward, going into the 35th anniversary. That's right, 2021 is the core's 35th anniversary, and Time Crisis is going to continue. In one of my previous videos, I showed you that Whispering Willie, as well as several other classic characters, are being brought forward with all new articulation, all new sculpting, and it's monumental with how great their articulation is. You're not getting old T-crotch style articulation. You are getting all new. And that is what is so fantastic about this. So, I get why people, tease about the action posed figures, but at least there is a reason behind it. Now, that competitor that I won't name on here, but I will pop up, in the comments, and I will explain. The competitor did some vehicles and included 5 POA figures, and no one batted an eye. I didn't hear, the competitor's fandom, complaining, oh, well, we got 5 POA Star Wars-esque figures with our assortments. But Lanard gets picked on over these 4 figures, and you know what? There was a reason behind it, and it's a fantastic reason, and it's an awesome tribute to the innovation and creativity that goes on both in the design offices in California and the production offices and manufacturing over in Hong Kong. So there you have it, folks. That is why you had the action posed figures. What started out for Dozer was heavy duty Hal, and for Recoil it was dual-wielding Wayne. So I really want to, say thank you to Lanard. I want to thank the fans for, keeping this conversation going, and, being a part of the fandom. I really appreciate, all of y'all's comments and your questions. Y'all keep them coming, and thank Lanard for bringing the fun.